Peace and blessings. Happy say, Elisa Sabado. How's it going, everyone? Peace and blessings. Welcome to my channel. Welcome new team members as well. I appreciate you all for tuning in and joining the family. I'm team member Aaron Glenn, private personal consultant, also advocate for mental health awareness as well. To me, success is 90% and 10% skills, 10% applied to themselves. Energy is what's important as far as being successful. How you spend your time, the things that you choose to think about, the things that you choose to go after. For Team Angie, our favorite quote and slogan is the marathon continues journey. You have to analyze the results. It just is what it is, you know. And if not, then you don't really care about your journey. You have to first decide to take that first step. Being aware is to be aware. It's like you know about aware, but if you're not really in the moment, you're not really aware. Living for the moment is really, really important. Being in the moment is even more so important. But anyway, what is energy? In a way to say and express energy is through this, like, you know, where the mind goes, energy goes as well. And I'll give you an example on how that works and as far as how you use your energy and how energy is very important depending on, you know, what you choose to focus on, how present in the moment you are in, whatever, right? And to me, signs and symbols are for the conscious mind, you know. The numbers three is very important as far as manifestation because it just is what it is. It takes a certain amount of effort, a certain amount of energy, and a certain amount of concentration as far as like manifestation. Like I say, where the mind goes, the energy goes. I mean, where the mind goes, attention goes, and energy goes as well. So if you think of it like this, right, we all know what a battery is and what a battery does and how a battery, say, for instance, you got a V12 battery, right, in your engine or whatever, or in your, even like these cell phones, they have batteries or whatever, right? So the way that that works is a battery tells you how many voltages that it can use. And say if you got a 12-volt battery, each volt is 10 seconds. And I'm just paraphrasing, right? So let's just say each volt in a 12-volt battery is 10 seconds apiece. So now you have 4 minutes to use this battery of whatever you're going to use it for, right? And what that means is this how much power you have to use, and this you got. And the same thing goes with the analogy I use is where the mind goes, the attention goes, and the energy goes as well. And back to the number three. So the first thing you're doing is you're thinking about something. And if you start entertaining that thought, it makes you feel away. And once you get the feeling away about what you're thinking about, you decide to take action. So therefore, where the mind goes, attention goes, energy goes as well. And you manifest that experience is whatever you've been thinking about, whatever that thought made you, whatever you felt, the way that you acted on, the way that you felt. And that's that. But anyway, that's just an example of how energy works and how energy goes, and how if you're not thinking about, you can easily waste your energy on things that's not going to better you. But anyway, I'm the word for today, and I'm going to share this video with you all about how to guard your mind so that you can use your time, your energy to manifest the reality that you truly desire, and how to be mindful to counteract those thoughts that don't align with your future and your goals. What I do on my channel is I put out positive vibes and positive energy, and I protect positive vibes and energy by keeping in mind. I have a book inspired by the book of the Bible, different verses, different passages. This book is called Enjoying Peace Presence, written by Sarah Young. And the message for today is every time you affirm your trust in me, you can put a coin into my treasury, thus build up equity in preparation for days of trouble. I keep safely in my heart all trust invested in me, with interest compounding continuously. The more you trust me, the more I empower you to do so. Practice trusting me during quiet days when nothing much seems to be happening. Then, when storms come, your trust balance will be sufficient to see you through. Store up for yourself treasure in heaven through placing trust in me. This practice will keep you peace. And this was inspired by the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 3 4. And also Matthew, chapter 6, verse 20 through 21. So, January the 10th for the place. It's kind of weird. New Year, how it begins when seasons ending and soulless. It is weird. It's a tricky time of year. I feel like it's December still because it's so cold and all this and that. But whatever, right? Let's check this out. It's from an ex-Satanist and what they be doing and how they use their time and energy to.
He said there's 13 steps to becoming a Saint already. All I had left to do, I had to slice my left thumb and bleed onto a document. And on the final page of a 5-page document, I agree to sell my soul to the devil. We're talking, and he says, basically in a nutshell, Satan has chosen you to be the next high wizard. And my heart skipped a beat. These guys are sought after by everyone. Actors, rock stars, kings, queens, presidents, diplomat. My first month, I was chosen almost on my 21st birthday. And it was a few days later, I found myself in Bohemian Grove.
Hello and welcome back to the Amos Falls podcast, where I interview regular people with incredible stories. Today's story is one of the darkest. It's very graphic, so watch at your own discretion. Zachary King is a former Satanist and has been on a journey to expose the secrets of the groups he used to be a part of. But Zachary was not any Satanist. He used to be one of the 10 most powerful people in the entire world, working with names that all of you would be very familiar with. And to end up in that position is not something that happens overnight. So in order to understand his life, we had to go all the way back to his childhood, where everything started.
It was the very first day of the 5th grade. And this kid came up next to me and he said, meet me in the bathroom at the first break. Now, this is 1976. There's no internet. There's no way to look up, hey, if somebody says, meet me in the bathroom, don't go. So this kid tells me to meet, and I was like, okay, I don't know any better. So I walk into the bunny, and there's about 49 other kids in there.
What?
Boys and girls just milling around, waiting for something to happen. And they tell us that we're going to turn out the lights, and we're going to chant a phrase into the mirror 11 times. And if we do it correct, the spirit of a burn victim will show up in the mirror. Now, none of us believe what we're being told. I haven't ever seen this in a movie or a cartoon. I haven't ever had a friend tell me. I've got an older brother. He didn't tell me he did this. My parents have never told me this story. Never done it at church. Never heard this anywhere. But this kid, same age as me, is telling me this story, and it's like, all right, let's try it and see what happens. Mm-hmm. So they turn out the lights. That alerts everybody that something's different, because some of us are still scared of the dark. So now all of a sudden we're in a totally dark room. You're in there with 49 other kids. And we chant the phrase 11 times. And suddenly a mirror flickers and there's a face there that's not one of us. And it looks like the spirit of a burn victim. His face is melted partially. Some of the upper lip is melted over down to the bottom lip, over the snarling teeth. And 49 kids ran screaming out of the bathroom. In my talks, I say one child, he's an idiot. I call him an idiot because it was me.
Well, right. And I used to do it thinking it was cool, but I don't know what kind of spirit we was calling up. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. And I had a conversation with God because that's who I believe in. That's what I believed at the time. Yo, what up, Carla West, 8865, peace and blessings. So yeah, I didn't know any better, and I'm asking God, like, is this for me, Because when you enter Christ and you get baptized, it's like you marry God, and God always marry you before anything. He don't have to test you out for a while, like how people do in relationships here on earth. Once you call God, so that being said, just like with any relationship, you're gonna exit that relationship properly. At least I do. I let you know that we're not gonna head in the same direction anymore together, right? But anyway, I'm telling God, like, yo, I want to check this out. I feel like this for me, and if it ain't, then bring me out of it. And that was what that was for. It wasn't so long, but I always chanted, and I was like, I feel weird. Or maybe when I did chant, I was calling. I don't know, dog, but I do know it's something powerful with doing that. You do call on different entities and spirits, and it's kind of creepy and crazy.
Stayed in the bathroom and thought, I praise 11 times. And I made this fear. This is incredible. Now, remember, at 10 years old, you're not always the sharpest tack.
Right.
That mirror land there that I'm looking at is not some distant land that I'm able to tap into. And it's not the room behind the mirror. If you're seeing it in the mirror, it's standing next to you.
Whoa.
So there's a demon standing next to me that I can't see, that I'm seeing the reflection in the mirror.
That's powerful. I never thought about that.
Our bookstore is like a portal.
It's neo-Victorian, it's steampunk.
Wix website to be to. I'm Jenna.
Now that's crazy looking in the mirror.
And
You looking.
notes were ended up being sent home because a couple of kids got hurt. Not like bumps and bruises hurt. I mean, broken arm, broken leg hurt.
Oh my God.
And they didn't care about kids' spiritual well-being. All they knew was that kids were getting hurt and they were going to be sued. So they sent notes home, and I had to take this note to my dad. My dad's in the den. He's reading the newspaper. And my dad had been a sniper in the Marines, and there wasn't a whole lot of love in his voice ever. So usually he gets this note and he just signs it and throws it back at me. But today he read it, and he got this scowl on his face. And in his usual loving tone, he said, "Have you been playing this game?" Being terrified of my dad as I was, I told him the absolute truth.
Yeah.
No.
I want to do it again. It was fun.
So that I wouldn't get caught at school, get suspended for 3 days, and spend those lovely 3 days with my dad, I started playing the game at home.
Oh man.
Now, when I played it at school, I played it once a day.
Whoa.
Now that I play it at home, I wake up, play the game, go to the bathroom, play the game, wash my hands, play the game, brush my teeth, wash my face, play the game, go out, have breakfast, come back, brush my teeth again, play the game. Before I leave for school, I've played the game 10 times at least. When I get home from school, there's usually nobody there. My parents aren't home till late at night. So I'm playing that game anywhere from 25 to 50 times a day.
He was in that bathroom.
Every time I play, I get scared. But, you know, I attribute to the law of bulldogs. Bulldogs are one of the friendliest dogs in the world with the ugliest face.
Yeah. Rottweilers.
They wouldn't choose their face. Maybe this person had love to draw. Maybe they were born with that face. Maybe that face melted in a fire. They can't control what face they got. Maybe they're a nice person. I'm not realizing at this time that I'm looking at a demon.
Right. And why did you do it so much? Because it seemed like you didn't move. It was just a mobile face in the mirror, right? So why were you doing it so much?
Because I could make the face appear. If you could do something that no one else seemed to do. I mean, it went through school and they sent notes home and told you she had to stop. Most kids just stopped. some kids kept playing it. I don't know why they did, because you're risking being suspended for 3 days. Just go home and play it. I did it at home and it worked again. I could play this any time I wanted, and every time I appeared, it didn't talk to me. It wasn't a different face. It seemed to be the same face every time. So it's kind of like it's familiar. And I got the feeling like he was my friend, even though he didn't say anything to me, he didn't talk to me.
That's crazy. Feeling like some around. Like I used to be chanting with Buddhism, the Sunny Akita, that type of stuff, right? Shakira Money. It was kind of crazy. Like you'll always feel something. Maybe different spirits. Maybe you open yourself up to it and you're trying to use your spirit guide to help you, like people do with different orishas. But that's a wild thing to be playing with, to be honest.
But I could make this face appear. All I had to do was stand in the bathroom in the dark and chant this phrase. It was up.
Okay. Well, that, as weird as it sounds, was the gateway to the next part, which I would call kind of like real magic because it has tangible effects in your life. But you were already interested in magic from a young age. You were wondering if that was real. Then you had that episode in the bathroom and then you started doing it. So obviously you're like, there's something here, and people didn't want you to play, but you felt empowered because you could do something that most people didn't. But
Right.
It started to become more and more intense when you added other spells with it. Can you explain where you got those spells in the first place and why did you start doing that?
I was playing D&D with a bunch of older teenagers, and there was 2 of us that were playing D&D that were young kids. I was 10, and another kid was also 10. And I was always the wizard or the sorcerer in that. And I started noticing that my magic spell works every single time. Now, I'm not doing a real magic spell. You roll the die and find out, or the dungeon master rolls the die, and you find out that you made it across.
Yeah, because for context, for people that don't know, D&D stands for Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a board game. So this is what he's talking about. So you were playing the board game, and in the board game, when you were trying to do something like with the spell, you'd always get between a 15 and a 20. So it would always work in the game. That's what you're saying.
Right. And I guess for more context for people, it's a role-playing game. So you play a different role based on what the character you've created. You have a dungeon master that does a lot of things and sets things up. So you're not actually getting to roll the die even. He does that. It's a 20-sided die. And it's a math-based game, so a lot of nerds play. Yeah. And so I'm having a great time playing this, but my magic always works. So I start thinking, what if I did a magic spell in real life? Not in the game. Just what if I did a real life magic spell and it worked? Now, I know better than to tell anybody I'm going to do a magic spell. I'm a little nerdy kid. I get made fun of enough as it is. I don't need to be made fun of for one more thing. So I'm not going to tell anybody. But I'm going to see if it works. Now, if it doesn't work, I'm probably never going to do magic again. I'll just leave it alone. I'll find something else. I'll start making model cars or something. But if it does work, I'm going to do this every day for the rest of my life. So we have spells in D&D books and the TSR gaming books that it turns out that Gary Gygax, one of the founders of the game, went to Satanists and those spells. So the game would be more authentic. So there was a spell in there to get money because it takes money to run a campaign.
Right.
So I did a spell for money. And the next day, I did it on a Friday. Saturday, I went out to play, and I found a can of tennis balls. I opened it. It was three new tennis balls. Hey, that's really cool. But also in the can was a $5 bill. Now, this is 1976.
$5 ago.
The three most important things in the world to me are comic books, candy bars, and penny candy. Penny candy now will cost you anywhere from 25 cents to 50 cents a piece. When I was a kid, they cost you a penny. So comic books were 15 to 20 cents. Candy bars were 15 to 20 cents. And penny candy was a penny. For $5, I could get 500 pieces of candy. You know, you're a winner. 500 pieces of candy. Man, that's a major treasure trove.
Mm-hmm.
But that could have been a coincidence. Somebody had to find that can. So the next weekend, I did it again. And the next day, I went out and found a $10 bill on the side of the road. Again, everything I want's dirt cheap. And that's 1,000 pieces of candy. But this still could have been a coincidence. So the next weekend, I thought of an even more ingenious idea. I don't know what that face is that's appearing in the mirror, but I'm making it appear from nowhere. Where is it coming from? And how do I get it? Is it coming from heaven or hell? Am I conjuring it from the cemetery? Maybe that's magic. And maybe this is a power that I can somehow harness for myself and do something with it. So I did the magic spell for money in my bathroom at home. And then I did the Bloody Mary chant. And when that face appeared, I let it know I was doing a spell. And then I finished out my money spell. You know, went to bed that night. Next day, went out to play. And I was at U.S. Sugar in a big unpaved parking lot. And something caught my eye, something bright and shiny. And I ran off to see what that was. When I got to the area, there's nothing bright and shiny there. But there's what looks like Monopoly money rolled up tight in rubber bands. So I put that in my pocket and I go back to play. And eventually, you know, it's late at night. Everybody's had their bath and everybody's in bed going to sleep. I'm in my bedroom, the light's out, but I'm sitting in my bed with a flashlight over my head, or a sheet over my head with a flashlight in my mouth. And I'm unraveling my rubber bands to see what I got. What is this treasure? And I said it looked like Monopoly money because I'd never seen a $100 bill. And when I unraveled them all, I had $1,000 and 10 $100 bills.
And that's in 1976.
Yes, that would be worth about $7,000 now.
Damn.
And that as well, think of how many pieces of candy I can get with.
Quiet. But one thing about engaging in this type of activity is you bring misfortune to someone else for your, you know, and this is how you make pacts with the devil. And to redeem yourself is to make it right for those of you bringing misfortune to, right? Because those blessings that the devil give, it always come at a price. Like I was telling you, I was dealing with this guy. He come in the form of a godly man, but he's doing the same stuff. You know, he letting you partake in some of these spells, rituals, whether you're willingly knowing that you're doing it or not. It works. It happens to be the way that they keep you engaged with this activity, right? And it's very, very manipulative. It's very, very decisive, and it's very, yeah, it's dangerous. Nevertheless, you know, all these things come with consequences and repercussions. So that's just the warning of it, you know, like everything that glitters isn't gold. Like he said, it was shiny. When he got over there, it wasn't shining anymore. Maybe those people over there with the trucks putting in sugars in the warehouses dropped some of their work money and he found it. You know, like he was saying, it may be a coincidence and maybe not, but that was no blessing from God, just to be honest with you all and let you know. And he's going to get into how misfortune around him was going on for other people. Misfortune for others around him, I meant to say. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, I encourage you to watch this movie called The Collector on Tubi. It's about this monk. He was dibbling, dabbling in different things, and he made a pact with the devil. And the devil made him a collector of souls. And he got tired of doing that for so many eons, to where he go collect the soul, but if he could give them a chance of redemption. And this was the way of redemption for each soul that he was meant to collect that was going to hell. They had 24 hours to I think it was 24 hours or 48. Basically I think they had like 2 to 3 days to, before he finna come get them or whatever. But within them 2 to 3 days, if they didn't make right with what they did, then they didn't have no chance at eternal life in heaven again. They was going straight to hell once they died, and they always just, majority of them just dropped dead when the devil came to take their soul. It looked like a heart attack, it looked like a stroke, it looked like something natural. But nevertheless, that wasn't what it was. It was the devil pulling their soul out.
$1,000.
I mean, it's unlimited pretty much at that point.
No, I didn't spend it all on candy though. I just got a lot of stuff that a 10-year-old kid shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that, if I did this spell every day, and every day it worked like this, that in 1 year I could buy a Lamborghini Countach, which is what I wanted. That was my number one dream car, Lamborghini Countach. Or if I did it for 3 years, I could be a millionaire. I'm not considering that I have to tell my dad, where is all this money coming from? My dad would probably make me stop, doing it.
Right. It was an awkward way to talk about it. So you kept that secret, but also I want to clarify that you didn't find $1,000 every single day. You did that spell every day, and most of the time you get like only a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah, I would do. It took me a long time to run out of $1,000, and run out of it. And whenever I would do the spell again, I'd get $20,
which is still significant. Like it in today, close to like $100, a dollar bill, right?
Right.
Imagine finding $100 bill every single day. It's very significant, and I understand why you wanted to go deeper. So kind of got teased, and then it continued to give you a little bit to put you deeper and deeper into magic. But a year ago, you got molested by a teacher in school, and I think that's when things really went to a different level. Can you explain why that was so important in your story?
Well, in my school, your time to go to the bathroom is the 3 minutes in between classes. PE is on the far side of the school, outside. When you come inside from that, you've got 3 minutes to make it all the way to the other side of the school to my next class. It's a math class. So I got in there really bad. So I put my hand up, say, can I go to the bathroom? You had 3 minutes in between classes. Why? 3 minutes isn't enough time for me to go to the bathroom and come here. I'd have been late. You'd have given me a detention. I have PE before this. I don't have time to make it. So she gives me the pass, and she tells me not to dilly-dally, not to play in the hole, don't play in the bathroom, go do your job and come back. Okay. So I take that, walk down the end of the hallway, and go to the bathroom. There's a noise. It sounds like somebody's breathing hard in the bathroom. But I look under all the stalls, there's no feet. And we have like 5 stalls. And then we have a large handicap stall. So there's nobody at the urinals. I walk to the first door, open it, nobody there. Next door, open it, nobody there. third and fourth doors, nobody there. This is getting uber creepy because I can hear there's somebody in this room, but I'm not seeing anybody anywhere. I mean, I'm checking the ceiling, the corners, vents, somebody hiding. If somebody had been hiding in a vent, that'd have probably scared the crap out of me. Or if I'd have looked up and seen so much to the ceiling. I've seen all those, that would have scared me too. But they're not in any of the stalls. And then I open up the final one, and there's a female teacher sitting on the toilet with her skirt hiked up to her waist. I can see her vagina, but I'm 11 years old. I'm not interested in sex, and women are not on my radar whatsoever. I'm not even looking at girls in school, and I don't know what it is. To me, it looks like she has something, and there's something there, and she's playing with it and moaning and writhing and tells me to come in the bathroom. So I come into the stall, and she tells me to lock it behind me. So I do that. And then she sexually assaults me. And she ends up pulling down my pants and my underwear, having me lay on the floor, and she climbs on top of me. When we were done, she told me that it was my idea, that I liked it. You have to admit that you liked it. I had to admit that I liked it. And that if I told anybody, I would be expelled from school. I would be arrested. I'd be put in prison. My parents would disown me.
Hey, it's me, and I'm sorry for interrupting this amazing story, but I just wanted to remind you that we have extra content on Locals that you should check out. Like the beginning of the go to missing out. And life is going to be ruined if you tell anybody.
Right. I can't tell anyone. I have to keep this a secret. Then I walk back to my classroom where my teacher is saying, you must have had diarrhea to be gone so long, and berates me in front of the entire classroom. Keep in mind, I still haven't peed. I didn't get to go to the bathroom when I was in the bathroom. I can't go now because the teacher won't let me go back. She makes fun of me and then asks me to sit down. And she says, I hope you had fun in the bathroom, which made me think, did she know what just happened?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Or is that a routine comment that she would ask anybody? But I don't know. I didn't trust any of the bathrooms. I never went back to the bathroom in the middle school again, because I didn't want to be sexually assaulted again. And I couldn't do it on the way home, because what if she's waiting for me in a different bathroom? So I walked home, peed my pants on the way home.
Damn.
Got home and put my clothes in the hamper. And then I took a bath in the hottest water I could tolerate to make myself clean. And I was doing that almost every day. I did that every day for probably 3 weeks. Just trying to clean myself from the dirtiness I felt. And that wasn't working. And one day I was thinking about drinking bleach, not to kill myself, because I know that would kill me, but to clean myself from the inside out, because I felt so dirty all the time. And the one thing that made me feel better was magic. When I did magic, I was on top of the world. I felt like nothing could defeat me at any time. So that's what I dove further into. I had a lot of books on magic in the library, and I read those and honed my skills, and I was doing magic for everything. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And the kid, remember I talked about that there were two and then a bunch of older kids. Well, the 10-year-old eventually stopped coming to school, stopped going to church, stopped playing D&D. So I just assumed he moved away. The next year, being 12 years old, he came back to school. And he came back to church and he was playing D&D again. And I was like, hey, where'd you move to?
Right. What happened?
And he was like, we didn't move away. I was just homeschooled. And my parents put me in a different church. And I got different friends.
What?
You know, and like, oh, so you've been here this whole time and haven't played with me. And now suddenly you've decided you're going to play with me? And he's like, I found a group of people that are really cool. They're really awesome. They play D&D every weekend and they believe magic is real. Why don't you come check them out? Well, I know magic is real, so
That's what I was about to say. His parents brought him into a cult. I got a similar testimony when I was in grade school as well. Not exactly what he's saying, but as far as my friend leaving and whatever. And we was a little bit older. She was about to be 16. They was going to a school for witches. Her grandma was a witch. Her grandma was teaching her mom and her to be witches. And she told me this in computer class that they was going to be leaving to go to that school. So I'm pretty sure that that's what happened with him and their parents as far as his friend situation. Because I know some people, parents are into that type of stuff, and it is what it is, right?
okay. So at my house, 26-inch console TV. But going over to this place, they had a 5-inch projection screen TV.
Like, damn.
You know, and my house, you could watch a lot of G-rated movies or a movie if it had been vetted by my dad first. But over there, they have R-rated movies, X-rated movies,
Yeah.
triple X-rated movies, triple X-rated
He finna see the devil in person at their house and get real familiar with and watch.
movies with kids in it my age. You know, and they told me that what happened to me when I was 11 was very sad and terrible and should have never happened to anybody. But now I can get my power back. I can decide to have sex with anybody I want to. Nobody can tell me no. And if somebody wants to have sex with me and I don't want to do it, I can tell them no. And they'll make me famous. They will put me in movies. And people from all over the world will write in and want to see me perform. So I said, yes, I'd love to do that. They showed me a bunch of movies, vids and loops, and still photos. And all this is naked kids. Most of them, they're anywhere from 3 to 15 years old. Most of the kids being like 8 to 12. And this looks like fun to me. So they introduced me to 3 girls that are sisters. One is 8, one is 11.
How old are you at that time?
12.
And these girls are going to teach me how to have sex. Because I don't know anything. And they said, you know, you're going to learn with the 8-year-old first. Once she feels that you know everything that she can teach you, you'll move to the 11-year-old, do the same thing, then move to the 14-year-old. When you graduate the 14-year-old, you'll be good enough to be in movies.
Okay, before we move on, because I definitely want to hear the rest of this. So they were really cool. They were playing D&D. And when you went there, they had all this technology, all this stuff that you couldn't do at home. So you thought it was cool. So you started hanging out there. You had no idea that this was a satanic coven, right? To you, it was just people that were nice to you and were letting you do things that your parent wouldn't.
Yeah, they had a pantry that was filled with boxes of candy bars. And I didn't have to ask permission. And you don't have to walk in there and take 5 at a time. Just walk in and take one. You can go in anytime you want, pick one, eat as many as you want. You don't have to worry about it. You know, like your dad will tell you, yo, don't eat too much or get sick. Well, they don't tell you that. You know, just go ahead and eat whatever you want. You get sick, you'll know better next time. At my house, pizza 3 times in my entire life. Over there, I could get pizza every night if I wanted it.
Whoa, pizza. You know what that means and what they got going on in that little place. This been going on for a very long time. Bunch of pedophiles, bunch of creeps, bunch of mental disturbed people, right? They're a cult. And he got led right into it. And what's crazy about this situation is once you get into this type of stuff, they go after your generation. You're already gone, unless you can find Christ in some type of way to save your soul. But they want you to bring the younger generations in, just like with the what they call this the pledges. If you Greek or whatever the fuck, right? You know these sororities, fraternities. You got to bring somebody in. The thing about the spiritual side, right? You either bringing souls to the light or you're bringing souls to the darkness. But either way it go, you're participating in or both. You know, whether you're leading people the right way or the wrong way, you're doing it. And with that being said, is that this physical life is only going to last so long until you're going to be where you're going to be for eternity, with the light or with the dark, continuously doing whatever they're doing, right? And these are spirits that live off of these type of activities. We were speaking on this a little bit yesterday, but this is putting it in more perspective on what's really there, you know, like what this stuff is really about. No matter what different cult, what different group, they all partake in the same situations. Just like if you're a Christian, right? We got different types of Christians, but nevertheless, we all partake in the same situations. And then you have people who infiltrate, just like he was with them. Now he's with the other side. And if he wanted to, you know, he can infiltrate their whole situation, and then vice versa. So you got to really be careful on who, you know, like I just posted a post as well, as far as perception and or presence, right? And it's a quote that I got by Elvis Presley. He was a rock singer from Tulupo, Mississippi. Um, I think it was Tulupo, Mississippi, something like that, right? Only been to the Delta where my people's at. We got a Glenn Foundation or whatnot in Jackson. But anyway, he was like, the way you see people is the way you see people. But that ain't who those people are, because at the end of the day, that's not the human being outside of their perception. Just like with his friend, he probably perceived his friend to be cool, to be resourceful, but at the end of the day, who that character was demonic. Just like how he was in the bathroom playing, calling on that face. That face led him to back to that boy, and that boy led him to more people just like them. You know, energy repels energy; it attracts what's like. Just like I was saying earlier, where the mind goes, the attention goes, and the energy goes as well. He entertained them thoughts. He felt like this was the move, and now he's there putting time and effort into that situation. I'm not gonna go any further because it's a little disturbing. But if you do want to finish this interview, what I can do and what I will do is put the description in the comments so you guys could finish the rest. And yeah, because I'm not sure, I should have said this in the beginning, you know, this viewer discretion as if you're with your children and or if you're with just somebody who feels some type of way about this type of information, you know, be respectful. And you could check it out whenever you want to check it out. But what I will do better yet is put it in the description. I'm gonna put it in both actually. Because I do like to show love to the, you know, Almost False. This isn't my first time using his information, not his information, but reviewing one of his situations. Dude is pretty dope. I respect his work, and so you guys could go show him some love as well. You know, it takes a lot of time and effort to get these type of situations. Like I say, you know, we decided to do this type of stuff, so this is what we do. But I don't want to take credit because this isn't my interview, but I am sharing it with you all. You all could go show him some love. False. So yeah, I'm going to finish this out, but it is in the description now, so you guys can check it out. And that'll be that. A peace and blessings. Hey, you have a nice weekend as well.